It's been moving through Key West throughout the morning hours. Things really going downhill all across the Keys. Now it sets its sights up the coastline. Here's another perspective. This is another view down in Key West, looking from Key West High School. Temperature 76, but notice the winds. They're out of the south-southeast at 39, currently gusting to 60 miles an hour. The center of circulation is now passing to the north of Key West, and that's why you're seeing those winds now out of that south-southeasterly direction. Here's another perspective, the visible satellite loop. You can see all the deeper convection, but the center somewhat exposed. We've been talking about that drier air and then that wind shear. So the wind shear coming from that westerly direction, knocking the top off this storm and shoving it over more towards that eastern side and exposing that center of circulation. So you can see that very clearly on the visible satellite imagery. So as we go through today into tonight, the big question is the warmer water in the Gulf of Mexico enough to really help this system re-intensify? Hurricane Hunter was scheduled to fly out there this morning. They've been delayed, so once they get out there later on this afternoon, we'll start to get a bit of a better idea of the exact structure of the storm, and that'll give us somewhat of an idea of whether we're actually going to see this strengthening. Look at the winds, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust in Key West, gusting to 32 in Marathon. Somewhat of a compact storm. That's why when you head up towards Naples, 24 miles an hour, and no gust reported up in Fort Myers. But as this continues to work its way to the north, we will start to see our weather deteriorating later on this afternoon. I think mid to late afternoon, and it all starts on our southern counties and then works its way to the north. 60-mile-an-hour winds right now sustained in this system, currently moving to the north-northwest at 10 miles an hour. You can see all that convection sitting on that eastern side. Problem is, that's where we are. So it's going to drag all that up basically right over the top of us. Here's that track. By this evening, 65-mile-an-hour winds, and then continues to work its way to the north. So by tomorrow morning, it's to our north, about to make landfall up into the Big Bend. Winds 70 miles an hour. So when we're talking about 70-mile-an-hour winds, it only takes 74 to become a hurricane. That's why we're also talking about the possibility this could become a low-end hurricane prior to landfall. At this point, low-end hurricane, strong tropical storm, doesn't really make a big difference in what we are going to experience. It's heavy rain, it's flooding. Remember, we've had a lot of rain here over the past week, especially on Saturday. So everything is saturated. Any additional rain on top of this is just going to cause more flooding concerns. Isolated tornadoes, always a possibility. Sustained winds 30 to 40 miles an hour with these gusts up to about 70 miles an hour possibly. And then once the storm passes to our north and the winds switch around more from that west and southwest direction, that's when we see that storm surge coming on shore, 3 to 5 foot storm surge. So here's SkyTOWER radar looking down to the south. You can see those bands working their way to the north, and already we've seen some of this rain, especially down across our southern counties. Earlier this morning, we had some rain over into Polk County, and there you see some of the heaviest portions of this now crossing southern Hillsborough County, passing up into southern Pinellas County. Some more showers down into parts of Sarasota County as well. So as we go through the day today, here is the rain all working its way from the south up to the north. We'll start to see more and more of these rain bands spreading up over us by late tonight. Here we are at midnight. Storm pretty much right on our doorstep and then working its way to the north. And notice those winds switching around more towards that southwesterly direction. As far as rainfall is concerned, 3 to 5 inches of rain, especially along these coastal areas. Lesser amounts once you work your way a bit further away from the coastline. So we do have a flood watch out that goes until Wednesday afternoon, just simply because we've already had so much rain. You look at the wind field where you see that yellow shade, that is the tropical storm force wind. So Manatee, Sarasota, up through Hillsborough, even as far east as maybe Lakeland, getting into some of those tropical storm force winds, and then that continues to work its way to the north. So we've got the tropical storm warning, and then where you see that pink shade, that is also the hurricane watch, which is in effect. Increasing winds, rain arriving from the south, pushing towards the north. Daytime high at 87 degrees. Then for tonight, windy, rain squalls, overnight low of 76. Then for tomorrow, rain in the morning and afternoon. It's going to start to improve as we go through those afternoon hours. Here's the 7-day forecast. Rain chances obviously very high with all the wind, and then things will settle down pretty quickly. And by the time we get into Thursday and Friday, rain chances all the way back down about a 20 to 30%.